What's up everyone? So today we're going to be swapping out the engine mounts on my 2004 Ford F-150 with the V8 4.6 liter. While we're at it, we're also going to be swapping the transmission mount. The process should be pretty similar for most 11th gen F-150s. My truck is 2-wheel drive, and sometimes on the 4-wheel drives you have to drop the sway bar and move a few more things out of the way. So that would probably be the only difference between my truck and a stock truck. And just in case you're confused, my truck is technically an 11th gen. It has a body conversion to the 12th gen, so the motor mount process is exactly the same for 11th gen. So my engine, frame, and everything is 11th gen. So this is for 11th gen F-150s. So on the 4.6 and the 5.4, you have two motor mounts, passenger and driver side, and then your transmission mount. When you buy them, they're going to come looking like this. There is a plate that mounts to the engine, and you are going to take that off and bolt that to these new engine mounts before you install them again. So I have everything pretty set up and ready to go. So let me show you guys everything that you're going to need, everything that I have out, and then we'll get started. So the first thing you're going to need is the engine mounts. Obvious. You're going to need at least a standard socket set with some extensions. I have my power, impact, and whatnot just to help save me some time when you're doing bolts. A torque wrench always comes in handy, so you can make sure that you torque everything to spec when you're done. I know some people just wing it. Sometimes I do too, but if it's easy to get to, I'll go ahead and follow torque specs. So that's it as far as sockets and wrenches go, just your standard stuff. Now the next thing you're going to need is some jack stands, a floor jack, and some wood if you don't have like an engine style jack. And the reason you need that is because after you disconnect the engine mounts, you're going to actually have to jack up the motor a little bit to release them and give you space to remove them and put the new ones in. My father-in-law has this big old thing he already made, but you can use smaller pieces if you need to. But the reason you have that is so that you're not putting this jack straight onto your oil pan or anywhere on your engine, because you don't want to put pressure in one spot and potentially dent it or break through it. So this just helps even out the stress on it. So you put that on top of your jack and use that to jack up the engine. And then for me, since I'm working in the driveway, I got my Easy Up set up, got my blanket on the floor so I can lay down, and behind the wheels I have the wheels chalked already. So I'm going to go ahead and jack it up, put it on some jack stands. I'm going to leave the wheels and tires on because I shouldn't need to get to anything from the sides. Okay, and since my truck has a conversion, it's like a full fiberglass one-piece hood, so I already took that off. It's sitting on the floor, so I have access to everything up here. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get underneath your hood and you're going to disconnect your battery. My battery is in the back of my truck, so I have a battery switch between the battery and the engine bay, so I already turned that off, so there's no more power anywhere up here. And the reason you do that is because you are gonna be disconnecting the starter and you don't wanna get shocked while you're down there messing with that. Since my truck sits a little higher than stock, I think I have enough space to do what I have to do under there without jacking the truck up or using jack stands. So I'm gonna try that first, and if it's not high enough, then I'll jack it up a little and put some jack stands. And then the next thing you're gonna do under the hood is you're gonna come up here, and we are gonna take off the entire throttle body assembly and the EGR assembly back here, because this is gonna get in the way as you jack up the engine to give you space to remove the mounts. It's gonna push up against the firewall, and then you won't have enough space. So we're just gonna take this all off now. That way, once we go to jack it up, it'll give you enough clearance. And the second thing we're gonna do is loosen the fan shroud. That way that also doesn't pull and get caught up on anything. So we'll do those two things now, and that should be everything that we need to move or loosen up here. Okay, so the first connector that came off is this one right here, connected to the throttle body. It has a little red clip that you have to pull back first, and then you push down and pull it off. So the next one is this one connected to the EGR. Just push down that clip and pull it off. The next hose you're gonna take off is this EGR vacuum. So it's right here, and it just comes right off the top. It has one of those clips where you push down this white tab and then pull it right off. So you can just spin it out of the way, and then this one that comes off of the EGR valve goes onto the back of the throttle body right here, and you just pull this one off. There's no clips or anything, it's just a hose. So then spin that out of the way, and then other than that, this whole thing should come off now with nothing connected to it. And then once you're over here, there's one more clip you can see right here hooked up to the actual throttle body. Same thing, a little red tab, you pull it out and squeeze in. I'm doing it with one hand, so sometimes it's hard to see what's over there. Squeeze down underneath the red tab, and then it'll pull right off. So once that's off, and then we can take off these 8mm bolts to remove the entire assembly. Okay, so there is 4 8mm bolts. There's 2 on each side. These 2 are really easy to get to. These 2 are a little bit harder. What I like to use is these wobble extensions, so they have like a little bit of a rounded end to them. That way the sockets can go at an angle. and then also an actual swivel. So this long extension with the wobble and the swivel was able to get to that back bolt and get it out super easy. So that is out, and then after that you just reach your hand in there, finish off the last few threads, and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do it without removing the EGR because it moves a lot already. Some people were saying that you have to remove the EGR because it is connected by a solid pipe, but I think just that few inches of movement should be enough. But worst case scenario, we get up here and there is two 10mm bolts that need to come off to remove the actual EGR from the throttle body assembly. And then the last thing is you have to loosen your fan shroud. So there is an 8mm bolt on each side right here under this plastic tab on your fan shroud. So just take them completely out and this entire thing will loosen, and that should also give it enough movement so you don't damage anything. I think that should be it for up here. Worst case scenario, you guys will see some text on the screen telling you that I came back to take something else off. If there's nothing here, that means that was it and it worked. So now that everything's good up here, we're gonna move underneath. So once we're under the truck, you guys can see this is the passenger side motor mount. Then over here is the driver's side motor mount. And then back there in that cross member is the transmission mount. So in order to get access to remove the passenger side mount, we're gonna have to remove the starter. So that is why we disconnected our battery earlier. So as you can see back there, there is our starter. So it's gonna be a few 10 and 13mm bolts to get this out. So let me get it out and I'll let you guys know how I did it. So the first few ones you're gonna remove are this one, and this one. And each one of those has a wire attached to it. So you can remove the wires and then tuck them up out of the way. And now that those are gone, we're gonna take off the actual bolts that are mounting the starter. Okay, so that is where the starter bolts to. So you can see that there's 3 holes. So there's the top one, side, and bottom. The bottom one is actually like a post off of the same bolt that you took off. So it's one of these like threaded in posts. So you use this nut to unthread it out. And then this is one of the wires that you actually took off. So that was there. And then here on the actual starter, you can see there's the top 2, and then there's that bottom one right there. So that's the orientation, and that's where it comes from. The hardest one to get is that top one. You just have to use an extension and reach it all the way up the top. You can't really see it. You just gotta use your finger and feel for it. They weren't too tight, so once I got them about halfway off, I just took off the ratchet and used my hand to twist the extension and take them all the way off. Once the starter is out of the way, you can go ahead and just double check you have everything disconnected in the engine bay, and then you will get your jack. Any jack should work. You don't need a crazy big jack like this, but this one does make it a little easier because it reaches up there. The big piece of wood that I was gonna use for under the oil pan was a little too big, so I just got these 2x4s. It's just to even out the load on the oil pan so you're not smushing right into it. So that's there. You just jack it up till it touches. You don't want to start lifting it up just yet until you start to disconnect the engine mounts. So now what we're gonna do is start taking off the engine mount bolts on each side. We're just gonna do them both at the same time. So this is a 22mm and a 10mm. So we'll take off both of those nuts on the passenger side. Okay, so that was a 22mm and a 13mm. And then now we got those 2 out. We'll move to the other side and take out the bolt. Okay, now on this side, it's gonna be an 18mm right here. And kind of crazy, but you guys can see the bolt that holds the motor mount together to this plate is completely shredded off on my motor mount. So take this bolt off, and then after that, we will start to jack up the engine a little bit. So as of right now, there's still barely any pressure, just kind of holding it in place. So we're just taking these bolts off first. That way it'll start to separate and we'll kind of angle it. And then we'll take off the bracket bolts that are to the block on each side. Okay, so on both sides, the engine mounts have this metal plate that's bolted to the block, and there is 3 13mm bolts on each of them. Once you have the engine supported and you have the main bolts out from the frame rails, like the frame mounts, then you can take these out. Now when you jack your engine up, it's gonna lift high enough to hopefully get these motor mounts out. So this is when we'll find out if the amount of space and things we disconnected up top were enough. So we're gonna jack it up as far as it goes till the engine touches pretty much the firewall. And then I'll get under here and see if there's enough space to lift these motor mounts with the plate all the way out. And then once I have them out, I'll show you guys more about the brackets and the holes. Okay, I wanna show you guys how I got it out of here. So this plate is flat up against the block, and I was able to push up the bolts from the bottom that are sticking through the frame and then flip it backwards. That way this bracket kind of clears that frame. Now I can lift it up and pull it right back out. So I'm gonna see if I can get it on camera. Okay, so this is the passenger side out. So hopefully that made sense. It was sitting in there like this, and I was able to push up those two bolts so they're out of that frame rail, and then flip it this way, and then rotate it out. So obviously it's gonna take some finagling, and you kind of have to figure that part out on your own, but it is possible to come out. All right, so now let's try the driver's side. Okay, so I got under there and tried to start getting the driver's side out, and I did do this like 9 years ago, and I remember that being the more difficult side. And I might have actually removed my exhaust manifold to get it out, and I cut part of it to get it out as well. But this time I'm gonna try to not do that and do it an easier way. I am gonna remove the engine oil dipstick tube to get that out of the way, and then we will keep trying to get it out. So I'll let you guys know what ends up working. Let's remove the dipstick tube. There's an 8mm bolt right here where my finger's pointing to, and you just take that off, and that's just a little mounting bracket, and then the bottom part you're just gonna pry off. It's just like pressure with an O-ring, and it'll come right off the oil pan. Okay, and then on the bottom, this is the dipstick tube. So right here, you're just gonna, if you have little forks, you can try to use that. If not, a screwdriver or something, and this should just pop out. Okay, so after I got it popped out down here, I just went to the top and wiggled it, and then it came all the way out. So once you get that bolt loose and you go down there and pop it off, then you have to come back up here and yank on it and kind of wiggle it a little bit and like rotate it so it goes through your exhaust manifold, and then it will come off. Once that's out of the way, I was able to like lift up the motor mount and rotate it backwards the way I did the other side. But yours may come out a little differently, because if you look over here, this is the one that I just took out, and mine came out in 2 pieces. So I don't know if that made it easier to come out or harder, but the bolt that holds the actual rubber mount to the metal was completely shot. So yeah, that's not looking good. So the next step for this one is going to be to unbolt what's left of the actual rubber mount from this plate, because you are going to reuse these plates. And then same for this one. So this one wasn't as bad because the bolt was still there. Realistically, these are both complete trash. So same thing, we're going to unbolt those bolts and reuse the plate. So I like to just set them next to the new one so you can just figure out orientation. And also, after I took the dipstick out, there still wasn't quite enough space, so I did have to loosen the 2 18mm nuts for the transmission mount. The plus side is I didn't take them all the way off yet, I just loosened them, and it gave the engine enough room to move up just a little more. And the plus side to taking those off is that we are going to change the transmission mount as well. So now they're already loose for us. Okay, so I'm going to swap over these plates. Okay, so the driver's side one, from what I remember from doing it last time, was the more difficult one. My last one, I had to actually cut this pin to get it to fit in. This time, I did not have to do that. I didn't get it on camera because it was literally like 30 minutes of me moving this thing around, finagling it, trying to go up and down, and my camera is overheating out here in the Vegas heat. So I'm sorry that I don't have the exact moment that it flipped and went in on camera. But what I had to do to get enough space, and there is enough space, was completely take off the 2 18mm bolts for the transmission mount, and then also put a jack underneath the transmission and lift that up as well. I didn't have to disconnect anything else up top. That was enough space with jacking up the back half of the engine to let this fit in. So same kind of method, kind of like rolled it in. It's like once I figured it out, it went in pretty easily, but you know, the 30 minutes of in and out, trying to get it to go in straight was the hard part. And the one thing that kept getting in my way was there's this like aluminum heat shield thing that's over the motor mount, and unfortunately mine just got all mangled up and literally just like ripped off, so I just pulled the rest of it off. So that kind of sucks, there's not necessarily a heat shield on there. I mean, the motor mount's in there, and I guess that's better than sitting here for another 2 hours. So I didn't bolt it to the engine yet because the engine is still lifted up, so I just let it sit in here. So now I'm going to go over to the other side and get the other motor mount in there, and then we will start aligning the holes. Okay, so now that one's in there. So now that that one's in there, we can start to lower the engine. Okay, so now that the motor mounts are sitting in there in the frame rails, I'm not going to bolt anything on yet because the engine is still lifted, and I'm gonna do the transmission mount from the back. That way it's all supported and everything. So this sits down into that little cross member, and I already took off these 2 nuts because we loosened it enough to help clear for these motor mounts. Now I just need to make sure that there's some space and then get these 2 nuts off of the transmission, and then from there we can try to slide this mount out and put the new one in. Okay, so the transmission mount came out much easier than the motor mounts. There's a lot of space. You can just pretty much take it right out to the side. Because it's kind of like a C-channel setup, it's kind of hard to get these bolts out, so you have to use a wobble and a swivel extension to get those out, and they are 13 millimeters. So once those are out, literally this was already lifted up. It was already lifted up high enough to clear the holes for this, so I just slid it on out and put it to the side. So now I'll slide in the new one. After you get that in there, you can lower the jack that's under your transmission. If you need to, you can also start to lower the engine if these bolts aren't going through, but these already went through, so I'm gonna put the nuts on it, but I'm not gonna tighten these until we have the motor mounts all in place as well, because the engine and transmission might shift just a little bit still as it settles. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is start putting the bolts back into the motor mounts. So if you're pretty mechanically inclined, the gist of this is doing everything opposite of how you took it off, but keep watching if you're just curious to see how it goes. So I don't know if you can see up here, but the holes aren't lining up perfectly to the bracket that goes to the block. So what you usually do is you just jack up and down the engine a little bit until you get it to align, and sometimes you gotta use a pry bar to kind of push against the frame rail and the motor. It's usually pretty close. Mine are pretty close, and since the motor mounts are rubber, you know, you can kind of, like right there, it's almost aligned. So just kind of get your bolts in there, and once you tighten it up, most of these mounts have a little bit of play, so they're all in like slotted holes. Plus the mounts are rubber, so usually with a little finagling, you can get everything to line up the way it was when it came out. Just don't fully tighten anything until you're all the way done, and you know for sure everything is gonna fit. That way you're not wasting your time tightening, and then you can't move the other one, so you're going back and forth. Okay, so to get all the bolts back into the engine block, to get all those holes aligned, I just had to jack it up and down a few times and just kind of get it aligned so I can get them in. And I also had to jack up the transmission still, so that's why I didn't tighten up those transmission bolts. So once I got those all threaded in, I just put some Loctite on them and I tightened them all up. And then now I'm gonna put on the nuts on the passenger side motor mount and then that through bolt on the driver's side. And then the front motor mounts be permanently in place. And then we're gonna tighten up the 2 18mm nuts on the bottom of the transmission mount, and that'll be permanently in place. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll check back with you guys in a second. So after you have all the motor mount bolts, the transmission mount bolts, and everything all Loctited and torqued on there, you're pretty much done. Now all you gotta do is reverse for the starter, your fan shroud, the intake manifold, and then your battery. And after all that is done, opposite the way you took it off, go ahead and start it. Shift it through the gears when you're stopped because your motor is gonna settle just a little bit still, and then take it for a test drive. Hopefully if your motor mounts were bad and now you got new ones, you won't have any more vibrations. So thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it was helpful. By no means do I think I'm like a full detailed master mechanic, but I just figured if anybody picks up a few tips and tricks along the way. Also, I'm exhausted. It's 100 degrees in Vegas, so this is a long day for me being out in the driveway. I drank so much water today and I'm tired, so I'm gonna button my truck back up and then I'll check in with you guys in another video.